Jasmine!
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
This must be a first for you because you're usually the curator and host of Telltale. Now you're a guest.
Different.
Yeah. Tell me about the origins of Telltale. It's been going on for over a year now.
About a year and a half, yeah. The main thing was that I used to write when I was much younger. I continued writing but didn't show anybody it for a very long time. And then the election happened, and then I was just very sad and very mad about lots of things all the time.
Yeah.
And I needed one thing that I could put energy into that felt good instead. And so I decided that this would be my one thing, my one good thing.
Yeah.
So I started the night, and I've been trying to get folks out to it ever since.
Yeah, and so it happens once a month, and it's
does.
community curated storytelling. And that storytelling could go in many different ways, as you've seen throughout the years. Either they're telling a story directly or it's musical. Tell me a bit about some of the highlights, some of the stories that have stood out to you.
Yeah, I really want it to be a really community-focused thing, and I want it to be whatever storytelling means to you, which sometimes means people are reading off a piece of paper. Sometimes people are just telling a story kind of off the top of their head. Sometimes it's music, sometimes it's comedy. We've had people dance, that kind of thing, whatever that means. And my favorite thing about it is that it's a really half and half mix between people who know what they're doing, established comedians who have actual bits and they're ready to go, and then folks who have never spoken into a mic before ever and who are shaking and maybe crying, and it's a very emotional poignant moment for them. And there's a good balance of those two things.
Yeah, and I'd imagine there are a lot of emotions poured out on stage.
Yeah, we definitely have They're happier sets and much more heavy, a lot of gravity to the sets depending on the day.
Yeah, and so you've got a show coming out on Thursday, October 25th.
I do.
Yeah, what location is that?
It's Chapel Theater in Milwaukee, which is 4107 Southeast Harrison.
And this particular topic, it's pretty poignant into our current situation nationally with the Supreme Court justice. But the theme of the show is I don't remember.
Yeah, which I picked before that.
Yeah.
Before the Supreme Court stuff happened, and then realized that I had really picked something that had a little bit more meaning or weight to it behind it than I thought it was going to.
Yeah.
But I think, depending on who I say that theme to, some people think I just actually don't remember the theme.
Yeah.
And that I'm trying to think of something. But the theme is I don't remember.
Yeah.
And some people think that we're just going to end up with a bunch of stories about blackout drunks.
Yeah.
Which is totally possible. I don't know. That's the other thing, is that I don't know what the stories are going to be about in advance.
Yeah.
I don't ask to see them or what they are about at all. So I'm equally surprised. I just know the title and whether it's going to be happy or sad on a scale of 1 to 10.
And that's pretty incredible, because you do it in front of a live audience, and there's got to be a lot of just kind of chaos happening on stage, and then you come in. Tell me about your role as the moderator and curator of this this storytelling series.
So the whole thing is me, as far as the stage portion. I have some people that come and do pictures for me or run the door, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But it's mostly me doing it. I also curate it as far as going out and finding people. So it's a lot of inviting anybody I meet ever.
Yeah.
I recently invited a girl at a taqueria that was saying some interesting things at a couple tables down, and I was like, oh, maybe she would like to tell a story. That's a really weird thing to just walk up to a girl and be like, I am totally eavesdropping on you. Would you like to come to my thing? But that is what I did, and I wrote the Facebook page for it on a piece of my chip wrapper from my food, and she didn't contact me. But I do try and just ask anybody that I ever meet in any possible situation. I almost asked somebody who rear-ended me if she would perform, because I was like, oh, that would be a good way to balance out, it's one less person I have to find.
Totally. Right?
I still have her number. I might contact her. But then I also perform at the end of the shows.
Awesome. So you create a story for every single one. Does it tend to stick to the same type, or are you usually reading off paper? Is it a comedic act?
I have always written mostly sad, mopey things. Mm-hmm. because I'm sort of a sad and mopey person, but I've tried very hard to balance it out a little bit and have it not always be sad and mopey, and to have some more like comedic elements to it.
Yeah. I think what engages me the most is that emotional release.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have these stories in our head that we remember, but we don't really get the full emotion until we actually present the story. So I commend you for building such a format for people to, witness that and be a part of it. Live in Portland is much about the community and making less strangers, and I think you are doing exactly that with your storytelling series.
I always try really hard to, I really like staying home. I don't really like leaving my house very much, and I feel like my story night also appeals to other people who have that feeling. But I try really hard to remind folks that connection is one of the easiest ways to heal from trauma, and I think we are living in traumatic times. Yeah. The community is one of the only things that help with that. So I try really hard to convince people that during the intermission, during the show, 12 to 15 minutes, that they talk to strangers.
Yeah.
And it's been really great because people that have not previously known each other have gone to open mic nights together, have started carpooling together, and have started forming connections. And it's only during the intermission, it's 12 minutes, you can handle it, and then I will call everybody back, and then so they're not going to be stuck in a weird, awkward conversation for too long.
Yeah. So it turns into a bit of a mixer. You get to meet the people who go on stage and people who are just in the audience. Mm-hmm. It's such a beautiful thing. And once again, I thank you for sharing it. So for the people who are watching here in our live audience and at home, how can they reach out and tell their story and get involved in your storytelling process?
I am on Instagram at Tell Your Tale and also on Facebook at Telltale PDX. And either of those are ways to reach out, and I'm always looking for more people that want to either perform or hang out in the audience. It's also just a really cool venue that has lots of other shows and plays and art displays and that kind of thing throughout the rest of the season, other than just my night, just to talk about them a little bit too. And there's a really great pizza restaurant in the basement of it, so if nothing else, you get to come and eat pizza and drink beer and watch entertainment. The show is $5 to get in, and if you don't have money, that's fine. I just want you in the door. I prefer that.